The following is a presentation of Radio Alabama Sports. This broadcast is copyrighted by Radio Alabama for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast, descriptions, or accounts of the game without Radio Alabama's consent is strictly prohibited.
All things Clay Central football are here now. This is Football Fiesta, sponsored by Monty Albon Bar and Grill, Meek Dozier Services, Farr and Associates Injury Attorneys, and Last Call Services. Now, here are Coach Chris Herron, Coach Jerry Weems, and Rusty Taylor.
Good afternoon, and we are here. Football season's here as we're right here on top of our first Football Fiesta Live from Monty Albon Bar and Grill here on the Ashland Square. As you've heard, it is myself, Rusty Taylor, Coach Jerry Weems, Coach Chris Herron, and we've also, Coach, got another special guest with us. Not a guest, he's just he's one of us, but we've got the Principal Athletic Director, Mr. Coach Wes Campbell, here with us.
Yes, we do, Taylor, and we got Campbell here with us. Campbell, good to see you. Glad you're able to be here with us tonight. Just a quick question for you, Coach, in the role with Principal Athletics Director. First big event. School's been in session now a couple of weeks. Everybody kind of got into the routine of the school day and everything's going on. Tomorrow night, the first really big event that's going to have a large crowd coming onto your campus there at Central Clay County. Place we've all been. We spent a lot of time over the years. But anything new as folks come in tomorrow night that we need to be aware of with everybody making that return trip, packing up Volunteer Stadium?
No, nothing new. Everything that we had in place last year and things that we've had in place in the past are in place. Tickets are $10. Mm-hmm. We've got cash at the gate, or you can purchase off GoFan in advance. You can find the links for that on our socials. We buying a GoFan ticket gets you in there quicker, but if you don't do that sort of thing and you'd rather give us cash money at the gate, we'll take it however we can get it.
Right, exactly.
But no, all the things that were in place last year, in place this year. Athletic Club will be taking up parking, $5, cash only for that. You talk about the first big event on campus every year. A lot goes into our home football games, and especially getting ready for that first home football game. Just the amount of people and the amount of effort that it takes, just everybody getting on board, and throughout the really 2 weeks leading up to the game, making sure that scoreboards are working, and making sure the press box is tidy, and making sure all the lights and hand dryers in the bathrooms work. And I don't want to get into thanking everybody because I know I'll miss somebody, but a few people that definitely couldn't do without. Chad Harris, our maintenance guy, and Matthew Scott, our technology guy, the work that they've put in over the last couple of weeks. I mean, overtime. I mean, some of them are still working right now. Coach Horn, obviously, and Coach Chase Horn. Everything that goes on through the week, cleaning, getting the stadium ready for guests. Lori Allen and Josh Giddens for painting that logo on the field.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody sees
on the 50,
that big, pretty logo on the 50-yard line every Friday night. And people don't understand that takes, the first time you paint it, it takes about 6 hours to lay that thing down. And
they were out there in the heat today, too.
In the heat, and about $800 worth of paint to put that thing out. Miss Pam Klein in the office. Selling. She's been up there selling reserve seats today. Going to be out there before the game, and while everybody's coming in, selling again tomorrow. Coach McCollum helping with just everything that's went into the week and getting Dragonfly sorted away and making sure all of our kids are eligible. Just lots of work goes into that first game, lots of excitement. Starting football, here in Clay County, there's always a lot of excitement, and then a lot of excitement around your first game, and this first home game in particular, just because of everything that's going on with it and some of the uniqueness that's a little outside of what's normal for us.
Yeah. Well, it's the Volunteer County, Coach, and that's what helped. Those are the people that help pull this thing off tomorrow night.
That's right. I mean, they mean it. Volunteer, and they mean it.
That's right. Exactly right. Coach, thanks for sharing a couple of minutes with us. I believe you got a chimichanga delivered over there.
Be it hot, just hit the table.
Ready for it.
I'm going to get it.
Go get it, Coach. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to adjust here. I keep cutting on and off. I think y'all got me now, though, but it was good to have Coach Wes Campbell there with us, and we just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that, we're expecting a really big crowd tomorrow night. I think we'll have a lot of our volunteer faithful, but I'm expecting a pretty good crowd to come on south from Fife tomorrow. I mean, every time, it's been a while since any of us has played them, but they really support their school really well and always pack the stands.
And you'll have some onlookers from around the area because, a lot of games tonight and then a lot of teams that are open tomorrow night. So there'll be a lot of different people that aren't involved in their own game that'll probably show up here tomorrow night.
Well, speaking a little bit more about the Fife Red Devils, a team that's kind of very old school in some ways, other than they go into the shotgun, and still a lot of the one-back gun type stuff with their wings. But I wanted to get you guys' take. Y'all coached a long time and prepared. It's very similar to preparing for the wing tee or the single wing. The other man, it's almost like they got an extra guy because they're snapping it straight to the quarterback. He's not under center anymore. Just speak to that.
Well, the best part about it is most of the time they're going to have two tight ends, and that kind of condenses you down to the inside defensively, and you don't have to spread out a lot. So, it makes it be kind of a strength on strength, but it does make it a situation to where with their formations, they've got a wing back on one side. They usually have what we call a sniffer back lined up on that same side, and that's a power rotation. But they can pull and go back the other way because it's a tight end that way as well. And those extra guys on one side can pull and be effective as blockers on the other side. So they can be very balanced what they do, but it does bring your defense in and makes it a little bit simpler from that aspect.
And it does, it becomes just more of you probably see a lot of base defense tomorrow night. We'll probably see our defense playing some 6-2 because of just the way that Fife attack, heavy run, a lot of straight ahead power kind of game, a lot of pullers, misdirection, a lot of eye candy, those wings, that extra back there, a lot of movement in the backfield, trying to take your eyes away from what you want to read defensively. And a big key on the defense, for linebackers, secondary guys, inside, outside linebackers, reading keys and trusting and doing what your key tells you to do. Don't get caught up with all the extra fancy stuff going on back there.
One thing they do, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but they put another guy in there. You might call him a fullback, you might call him a sniffer, but he's really they kind of use another lineman in that spot to add a spot that, he may line up in any gap. He kind of shifts around right there behind the tackle, behind the guard in that neighborhood a lot. That presents its own challenges, but they don't, of course he can pull around, and the tackle sometimes even something they do a good bit is pull a tight end. You don't see that a ton, but they don't pull a lot of guards. They pull a lot of tackles and then tight ends more with that sniffer back.
Well, I was going to say, Rusty, with us jumping in the 6-2 every once in a while, what that does, we cover all their offensive linemen. And as you mentioned, they pull tackles, they pull tight ends, and they also pull the sniffer back and the wing back. So by being in a 6-2, you've got all the linemen covered. And when a offensive lineman pulls, you've got a defender right there with him. So I think that'll help defensively as well.
A little old school. You men watched a lot of film, similar blocking assignments up front. They get in there foot to foot. You were able to see that and kind of adjust to it. Coach Heron, I wanted to kind of look at them defensively. They do a lot of the same stuff, honestly, we do. Look a lot like us sometimes on defense, but, it'll a lot of depend, obviously, what we do offensively because we do a lot of different line up a lot of different ways. What do you see is kind of the offensive line side, especially attacking them up front?
Well, they're going. I think they seem to base out of a 3-4, which is the same thing we basing out of. They're going to do some adjustments. They're going to have multiple alignments that they use up there, based out of that 3-4. I think for us offensively, I think we may see a little bit more tight end than we've been used to in years past because we seem to have a few more of those type athletes, those tight ends, H-backs kind of guys. And if we do that, it's going to kind of keep them more in that true odd front with that the three front there, but then they're gonna adjust late. They're gonna slide, kind of late, trying to mess with our blocking assignments. Knowing we've only got of our 4 offensive linemen, we've got 1 returning starter. The other guys have they played some, but they've never started and been the first ones to run out there. So defensive line probably a strength of their team. Big guys up there take up a lot of space and a lot of room, hard to move out of the way, and it'll be challenging for us offensively just because of I think 17 returning starters for 5 out of their starting 22. So an experienced team that they're bringing down here tomorrow night to face a Vols team that a lot of new faces running out there for a starting position tomorrow night.
And Coach, it'll be interesting to see how they adjust when we go to our 3-back, our wishbone set. Are they going to stay in a 3-4? Are they going to bring an extra man up on the front? Just how are they going to adjust? And I figure we'll find that out pretty quick.
Probably so. It probably won't take us long. And this game is going to. And I know Coach Horn and the coaching staff this year. This is going to be a game. We've got some players. Well, I'm going to say most of them. This is not the kind of game that they've ever played in. We've never played anybody that just kind of sails out to this type of offense. And that compact foot to foot and the 5. If they can get through the game without throwing a pass, that's what they'll do. If they can have enough success running the ball. And so, it's kind of a different game, kind of us old heads, we can remember, a lot of games this way, but for these guys to play, and, it's going to kind of be their first time to get a good dose of it for 48 minutes of this kind of football.
And the thing about it, they come off the ball so well. We hadn't got time to stand around and look.
Right.
We've got to hit and react quickly because they're veterans and they're coming off the ball.
And there's not much natural gaps there, as Taylor mentioned. I mean, they are in there foot to foot, and those pullers are coming quick. And I think that's part of the reason Taylor mentioned about the tight end pulling. Their splits, they're so tight. Their tight end pulling's a lot like a lot of teams' tackles pulling. No farther than he is out.
The tackle's more like a guard because he's in the almost so in the guard
anyway,
spot.
Exactly.
It would actually be tough. It's tough to pull the guard. They're so foot to foot with the
when
center.
they're that close, exactly.
I mean, if you tried to run a trap, you wouldn't get much head of steam up from that spot. I just wanted to kind of mention, I asked you a couple players that might have stood out to you watching them on film. Were there a couple players that stood out to you?
I thought their big offensive linemen were impressive to me, and their skill people are better than what you would think, coming from that type of offense. Quarterback very good athletically, so it's a good football team, and it's compounded by the fact that they've got a year under their belt playing.
I'll tell you a player that stood out to me, and just really he plays tackle on offense. Weston Evans is 6'2", 250, but he plays linebacker actually on defense. He plays the offensive tackle on the right side on offense. I think he was a defensive lineman on the film you saw last year, but he's made that move to inside linebacker. That's an interesting matchup. And
he may be their best football player.
He's a football player.
He is a football player.
And with huge size, 6'2", 250, to be able to get him back there where and I'm sure that's the reason they moved him to linebacker, to allow him to be able to flow and make plays on both sides of the ball instead of just one, as they've moved him in there at that Mike linebacker.
And Rusty,
spot.
You mentioned the fact that he plays both ways. They've got 7, 8 players, maybe more, that play both ways, and I think it'll be important that we kind of rotate some people, particularly on defense, so that maybe by late in the second half we can wear them down a little bit.
I think that's a huge chance to be able to wear them down because they are playing the majority of the players. They're playing about 8 or 9 guys, I think it is, both ways most of the time. So, including the quarterback. Quarterback also plays defense as well. So, which is common at that side. A little bit smaller school. We obviously did that a lot ourselves. So, in the past, but it should be an interesting matchup as Coach Horn comes in. But you can't forget that this is the winningest 2 coaches in the AHSA facing off against us. It's going to be a neat game. The game's going to be a neat game just because of the history of the teams and, what they've both done in the past, but also the coaches, roaming the sidelines. That's special opportunity to have that right here at Volunteer Stadium in game. This is kind of this. Some people hope for a warm-up game. Well, buddy, I don't think either one would call this a warm-up game. You're jumping right into the fire here, week 0. As they like to call it there as they get started.
And Rusty, what's unusual about this game, we've got the 2 winningest coaches here, but one of them's going to lose tomorrow night.
Yeah, you're right.
Both of them can't. Both of them
one
can't.
of them going to add to
Both
the
of
total.
them
You're
can't
right.
win.
You're exactly right.
Well, speaking of that, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back here on Football Fiesta. We're going to have the winningest coach in the AHSA history right here with us when we come back on Classic Country 90.9.
Morning coffee, afternoon snacks, a cold drink on a hot day, fuel before the drive home. Allen Brew snacks and everyday convenience items. Allen Brew Market serves communities across the region, helping make every stop count. That's being all in with Allen.
You're all in with Allen, oh yeah, Allen Brew Markets.
Support for Classic Country 90.9 comes from Last Call Services, located on Highway 49 in Delta. Last Call Services provides residential and commercial plumbing throughout East Central Alabama, including fixture replacement, water heater installation and repair, sewer and water line service, bathroom remodeling, new construction plumbing, and plumbing for remodeling projects. The company provides 24-hour emergency plumbing service. More information is available at lastcallservices.net or by phone at 256-343-4119.
Hill Auto Sales is a proud sponsor of the Clay Central Sports Network. Located at 89010 Highway 9 in Lineville, Hill Auto Sales is an automotive dealership operating within our local community since 2014. The inventory consists of pre-owned vehicles, including cars, full-size trucks, service trucks, and sport utility vehicles. Complete inventory details and vehicle descriptions are available online at buyfromhill.net. The telephone number is 256-396-1100. Hill Auto Sales, the home of the Hill deal.
High school football is back across the Radio Alabama Sports family of networks, and Week 1 is loaded. Rivalries, heavyweight matchups, coaching legends, and a new season kicking off across East Central Alabama. This is Alex Bauman with your Radio Alabama Sports Roundup. Here's what's on the Friday night slate. We start with a matchup featuring two of the most accomplished coaches in Alabama high school football history. Clay Central and head coach Danny Horn, the winningest coach in state history, square off with Fife and Paul Benefield, who rank second on the Alabama's all-time wins list. That's two coaching legends, one sideline apiece, and a big-time matchup to open the season. Rusty Taylor and Coach Jerry Weems have every snap on Classic Country 90.9. You can also watch on the Clay Central Sports Network Facebook page or listen in the Radio Alabama app. Down in South Alabama, Wetumpka hits the road to open its season against the Andalusia Bulldogs. Mitch Petrie, Gregory Kirby, and Austin Elliott are on the call for the Wetumpka Sports Network. Hear the game on WRFS or watch live on the Wetumpka Sports Network Facebook page. At Farm Links Field, Fayetteville enters Week 1 after an impressive Fall Jamboree performance against Randolph County and Verbena. Now the games count as the Wolves welcome the Coosa Central Cougars for the regular season opener. Blake Bagley, Jacob Bassett, and Clint Wright bring you the action on Radio Alabama Special Events Channel 2, exclusively in the Radio Alabama app, with live video on the Fayetteville Sports Network Facebook page. In Auburn, get ready for a heavyweight showdown under the lights at Duck Sanford Stadium. Auburn High opens its season at home against Hewitt-Trussville, and there's a new voice behind the microphone. Jack Hutton makes his debut as the voice of the Auburn High Tigers, alongside Rob Pate and Trip Upton. Catch every play on Wings 94.3 and in the Radio Alabama app. And we close out the slate with the rivalry game. Lee Scott Academy opens its season against Glenwood in the debut of interim head coach Jacob Osment. Christian Griffin and Christian Roberson have the call on AU 100.3 and the Radio Alabama app. From Clay Central and Fayetteville to Wetumpka, Auburn High, and Lee Scott Academy, Radio Alabama Sports has you covered all across the state. On air, online, on your phone, and now on your TV. High school football doesn't get any better than this. This is Alex Bauman, and this has been your Radio Alabama Sports Roundup.
We welcome you back here to Monte Alban Bar and Grill for Football Fiesta, our first installment of the years. We're live here in the second segment. We will be on the air till 7 o'clock here live from Monte Alban number 2, and obviously on Classic Country 90.9 and the Radio Alabama family of networks, however you can listen to us there on the app or whatever. But now we do have Coach Danny Horn with us here, Coach. And Coach Herron, you've already requested to be – I'm trying to stay away from any questions, so I'm just going to turn it over to you.
I want the first question, Coach. I want to be first, Coach. We got to get that thing a little closer up. There you go. This morning, Coach, we got to talk to Coach Benefield about it 8:15 this morning, and shared a little time with him again this morning. And he's a great guy. Great to share some of his morning with us like he did. And about 8:15 this morning, he was in the truck riding around, and he'd been by Jack's, was eating him a Jack's bacon, egg, and cheese wrap. He didn't go biscuit because he thought the wrap was a little better for him than the biscuit.
Yeah.
About 8:15, had him a cup of coffee. What were you doing about 8:15 this morning while he was eating his wrap, his bacon, egg, and cheese wrap?
I was getting the paint ready for the field.
You was getting ready to paint. Yeah. So while he was riding, eating his biscuit.
Right.
No, so,
yeah.
He
don't have to worry about that.
You don't think even when he plays the home game?
No. You don't? I know he don't.
Oh, you know he don't.
He don't cut grass. He don't paint. He don't do. He coaches.
He coaches.
That's it.
Well, he does, and he does a heck of a job with it.
Great job of doing that.
He does a heck of a job with it. So.
Well, Coach, just on that note, you think you'd be a better coach if you didn't do all that?
Probably. I don't know.
We'll never know.
I wouldn't be as tired. I know that.
Yeah. Well, you do it, and you do it well. Speaking of that, for the people that hadn't been over at Volunteer Stadium, wasn't able to come last Thursday night, the field in immaculate shape. It really is in great shape for real grass turf, which we won't see a ton of when we go on the road. But honestly, yeah, that field looks great. And, of course, that sea ball's been painted out there this morning, even touched it off. But it really is looking really, really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, a field takes time. It takes years and years to get it looking good. And I still got some spots around the fence line that I probably need to take care of. But the actual playing surface is probably it looks as good as it ever has.
Coach, your facility there, and if you're not around it much and you don't know, you just show up tomorrow night. But people don't realize not only you, but your assistant coaches and other volunteers, there is a lot of work goes into getting that stadium and that facility ready for the opening of football season, kicking things off tomorrow night.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on. I mean, I was in the sun all day. I'm about wore out, but a lot of work and getting the field ready, and of course. Lori Allen and Josh Giddens, they do the C, which for the first time it always takes a long time.
Yeah.
And then we got a machine that paints the lines, but we paint the numbers, but just getting it ready and getting the bleachers ready, and blow them out, and it just takes a long time. But we got it all done today, so it looks nice.
Coach James is kneeing me here. He said that's enough. He's ready to ask you a little football.
Oh, you carry on, Coach. But Coach, on the you talking about you paint the numbers. You do all those little hash marks as well.
No, the machine does that.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So all that's left is the numbers.
All that's left is the numbers.
Did they all get painted correctly? I mean, is any green paint used this time?
No. I think we got them all done right.
That has been an issue in the past.
It has been an issue. In fact, I carried the 2 to the 4 and laid it out, and I said, well, that don't look like no 4. But it was a 2, so I had to get it.
You did catch it before you painted it.
Yeah, I caught it before I painted it. But I've messed up a lot of times.
It's happened. Yeah, it does happen.
Of course, when it's 100 degrees and you're sweating and you're moving things, it's a lot easier to make a mistake.
Exactly. A lot of that sweat getting your eyes.
It was to me. It was as hot today as it was Monday. For some reason,
we've had some hot weather.
Yeah.
How have you managed? How's the guys managed?
They've done well.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen a cramp at practice.
Right.
They might have had one when they got home.
Right.
But no, we've handled it pretty well.
It's always hot in August. We've all been through it, but now
always.
it's been. I mean, there's been days of heat. Sometimes you'd have a few days and then catch a break, but there's been some days of it to work through out there.
This week especially, it's been really hot this week.
Right.
Well, the thing about it started with the beginning of practice. That's when the weather kind of changed and the heat came in. It coincided with the opening of practice, and it stayed with us all the way. And now, I think it's not as humid, but it's more of a dry type heat, seems like to me. But it's still hot any way you look at it. But, Coach, I think being in that hot weather will pay off for those guys as we get into the season.
Well, we hope so. I mean, I think we've handled it well. And, I mean, I'm as hot as they are. And, like I said, I think we've handled it well throughout practice, hopefully, tomorrow night it'll show. But you never know. It's a different.
Well, another factor tomorrow night, they're going to the adrenaline is going to be pumping. They're going to be expending more than they do in a normal practice. So
no doubt
that's going to come into play tomorrow night.
But it's supposed to be a little bit cooler tomorrow night, I think.
Coach, let's look at Fife just a little bit. We know we've talked to you this week. We know kind of how you guys have prepared, and you kind of, you got things ready to go tomorrow night when we get to the kickoff. But looking back at Fife, and we've mentioned it a little bit a while ago, it's kind of an old school kind of game, Coach. They're bringing down here something we don't see a lot. We probably got some players, they've never experienced a game of 48. We've seen a little bits and pieces of it, but tomorrow night, 48 minutes of kind of an old school. They're coming at us, going to try to hit us right in the mouth, and just try to outman us and out hit us on that line of scrimmage, and a different kind of game than we've seen for 48 minutes in a while.
Yeah, we're going to find out a lot about ourselves tomorrow night. They line up and come at you, and they keep coming at you. And, every play, they pull 2 or 3 people, leading up in the hole, and they foot to foot, and that enables them to be able to pull even the tight end and the wing back sometimes. And they do a really good job of mixing it up. They'll go to the weak side, call it a weak side, away from the wing and the sniffer back, which is not really a weak with a tight end over there, but it's a little bit weaker than to the strong side. But they mix it up well, and they'll pull different people. And sometimes guards, sometimes tackles, sometimes tight ends, and most of the times two of them will pull. And then they get you thinking run, and then they'll slip a pass in there, and usually they're successful throwing, but just because the receivers are wide open, everybody's done lost thinking about the run and forget about reading the key, and they offensively they present a lot of problems, and it's like I told the team, I don't think we're going to face another team like this all year long. In short yardage situations, sure, but for the length of the game, they are who they are, and we just got to get nose to nose in there with them and get after them.
They're preparing for them, and it's a lot of wing T principles we've all been around back in the day. Used to be quarterback was under center most of those days. Now they're running that quarterback back in the shotgun. Just for you, looking back to the way yesteryear and the way things used to be when wing teams were under center, but now back there in the shotgun, how's that made the prep a little different than what some of us older guys may remember?
Well, they do a good job. They got a sniffer back, what we call a sniffer back in there, and that's like the old Notre Dame box.
Right.
That's like some single wing stuff, and they snap it to the quarterback some. And, I mean they've got a play where they'll lead with 4 people. I mean, they snap at the quarterback, the sniffer lead, they'll pull 2 people in the back of lead.
Oh, my goodness.
And so, I mean, it's 3 or 4 people, coming in the hole, or 2 or 3 usually, but sometimes even 4. And it's just one of those things you don't see often. And,
well, Coach, you mentioned this earlier in the week when we talked, the fact about you want to try to get ahead of them in the game, because if you can, it kind of forces them maybe to do some things that are uncharacteristic to them, things they don't like to do, to try to catch up. But on the other hand, if they get ahead of you by a couple of scores, it kind of puts pressure on you offensively and makes you maybe try to makes you play different as well, trying to catch up.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to be key who can get the early jump in this game.
I agree 100%. I mean, we've got to get out and get a lead and maintain a lead, because if they get a lead, they're going to grind it out, and they're hard to stop. And but yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a lead and put them in a situation. Of course, they're not going to change. It's got to be a pretty good lead for them to change. Much. But that's the teams that usually beat them are the ones that, from an offensive standpoint, can score some points and kind of hold them down as best as they can. And, I mean, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to obviously score some points and keep the lead in the game.
You look at their defense, Coach, a 3-4, three-man front there is kind of – they base out of that. They'll give you a little different looks around. How many – will we be using a lot of formations, trying to get them out of that stuff and maybe make them line up a little different than where they'd really like to be?
Yeah, we'll run our normal stuff,
right.
But we'll spread them out sometimes, and then sometimes, we'll sit with the tight end and a wing, and we got so many new faces on both sides of the ball. It's hard to tell how they're going to perform. Quite honestly, some you kind of know, but some you don't, because they've never had been under the lights before. So.
And Coach, you talked about how difficult it is to stop this offense that they'll bring, and you certainly don't want a situation where you turn the ball over and give them an extra possession here and there, and you don't want to turn it over deep either to give them a short field to work with. So turnovers will be critical as well.
Well, I told them today, from an offensive standpoint, turnovers and penalties is what's going to kill us, and we're not good enough to overcome, either one of them. I've had some teams where it really didn't matter, but this is not one of them. I mean, we got to play error-free and play physical and focus on our assignments. And I shouldn't have to say play with effort, because, as a coach, you don't coach effort. They should already have it. And so – It's going to be a tough game for us, but we've been practicing now for a while, and we'll just see what we're made out of.
Well, Coach, we talked a lot about obviously Fife, and reasonably so, but we want to talk a little bit about our own team. What can we expect? I know a lot of listeners out there wanting to see what the new Volunteers going to look like, and you've hinted around a little bit. But maybe some players or some things or what you're kind of expecting. I know there's still a lot to be known, and it'll be shown tomorrow night. But what can the common fan expect from the Volunteers this year?
Well, we're a little slack on the skill positions this year as compared to years in the past. But the ones we do have are pretty good, and they need to have big games. I mean, Dalen Houston at running back, he's big and fast. He just hadn't had a whole lot of experience, but he's got to run the ball well. And J.D. Hall, we're gonna move him around to several positions, and he needs to play well. And then you look at Hudson Foster. He played a little quarterback last year, and he's gonna play some, and JD's going to play some, but Huddy will probably have more snaps. And, he can throw the ball, but he's just 5'7". That's one little problem. But and then you look at the offensive line, we got 4 new starters there. And I've said all along, every good team I've ever had a pretty good offensive line. And we're young, and it takes a little bit more time for the offensive line to gel, but I think we got some people up there that can play. But it's going to take some time, but we need them to play well. And from a defensive standpoint, we got 2 inside linebackers back and got 1 defensive line back, and so we got a few more starters back on defense than we do offense, but still. We got a lot of new faces on the D-line and in the secondary, and I'm anxious to see how they play.
Well, talking about the special teams, I mean, that's always a key component. Sometimes, you can have great years, but sometimes your special teams can bring you down a little bit. And I think at times we got hurt with the special teams bug the last couple of years. But how's that been looking overall up in fall practice?
Well, it's looked fairly well. I think from a kicker standpoint, we got a little 9th grader, although he strained his growing the other day, and I don't know what his status is for tomorrow. But JB, he does a punt, and he's done a pretty good job doing that. And I mean, we'll just have to see. I don't know. You know, the kicking game is something.
Well, maybe we won't punt.
Well, yeah, I hope not. But I do hope we kick off a lot.
Yeah, I think you kick off a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. I mean, people get hurt here and there, and you just got to stick somebody else in there and let them go at it, and hope you can survive it.
You got your play sheet ready?
It's ready.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
You don't still have that
No,
pen?
Chase does it.
Oh, so you ain't got that old 4-colored pen branded out like you used to have?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Chase makes that up for you
yeah.
now.
Yeah. I would have like some plays in blue.
Yeah.
And some pass plays in red.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had that four-way pen.
I like color coding now.
Yeah. Color coding.
Oh, them old ones with the flip.
Okay. 4 colors. That's how you break that thing down back in the day. Yeah.
You know, I still got a pen that's got
that does that.
Yeah.
You still.
Yeah.
You may have the last one in Clay County, Coach.
Well, y'all got anything else for Coach Horn? We appreciate him taking his time. Know he's had a long, long day, and we don't want to keep him too long. But y'all got anything else before we let him go?
Well, I'm good, Coach.
I'm good. Just good luck,
we've
Coach.
We've kept him too long.
Good luck, and we'll be there. We'll be there doing our part, and look forward to watching our Vols again tomorrow night. Excited about seeing it.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, thank you, Coach Danny Horn. Been with us right here from Monte Alban Bar and Grill on Football Fiesta. Stick with us. We'll be right back, right here on Classic Country 90.9.
Central Alabama Community College is helping build stronger students, stronger careers, and stronger communities across Central Alabama. From academic pathways and transfer opportunities to career-focused programs and technical training, Central Alabama Community College provides students with the education and skills to prepare for what comes next. With affordable options, convenient locations, and opportunities for students at every stage of life, Central Alabama Community College is proud to serve communities throughout the region. Central Alabama Community College. Central to you, central to your success.
Farr & Associates Injury Attorneys handle cases involving auto accidents, 18-wheeler collisions, motorcycle and boating accidents, wrongful death, premises liability, workplace injuries, and medical malpractice. Information is available at tpharrlaw.com or by phone at 256-487-6080. Farr & Associates Injury Attorneys are sponsors of the Clay Central Sports Network on Classic Country 90.9. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those performed by other lawyers.
Support for the Clay Central Sports Network on Classic Country 90.9 comes from Meek Dozer Services. Owned by Joseph Meek, the business provides excavation, grading, land clearing, and land management solutions for residential and commercial properties throughout East Central Alabama. More information is available by phone at 256-276-8725 or on Facebook under Meek Dozer Service.
Every day brings a different destination. Allen Brew Markets is a locally owned, family-operated convenience store offering fuel, coffee, cold beverages, snacks, and everyday essentials. With locations across the region, Allen Brew Market serves local communities with food, drinks, and convenience items.
You're all in with Allen, oh yeah. Allen Brew Markets.
We welcome you back here to Football Fiesta, our first installment here live from Monte Alban Bar and Grill on the Ashland Square. This is Rusty Taylor, Coach Jerry Weems, Coach Chris Herron. We've got Heath Bone Stroud over there helping with the stream all over different locations, however you find your stream there. It's available. We also got Jeremy Character, back in action, back in the gear, and we've just had Coach Danny Horn. It was good to have Coach Horn there with us for a little bit, but good to let him go, guys. Coach Herron, I think you've got this. We want to look at our schedule. It's going to be a tough schedule, we think, and some of those playing some tough opponents this week. Share that with us. I guess I need to turn you on.
We'll do it, Taylor. Hey, we're going to jump into this thing. We got this 10-game schedule. Now, we've got our open week right in the middle of the year this year. So we're going 5 weeks in a row. Then we're going to have our open week. Then we'll have 5 more to finish out the regular season. Starting it out tomorrow night at Volunteer Stadium. Of course, the Fife Red Devils, Coach Benefield, bringing those Red Devils down here tomorrow night, and that game kicking off 7 o'clock to start the season for both teams, for the Volunteers and the Red Devils of Fife. Next week, a team that's been in the region the last couple of years moved out of the region now with the reclassification, shuffling around, but was able to keep them on the schedule. Coach Caldwell at Elmore County and those Elmore County Panthers, and still getting there. That's going to be the second game next week. Tomorrow night, they are at home, and they're taking on the Chilton County Tigers in their season opener tomorrow night there in Eclectic, and that's where the Vols will be going in week 2. And then week 3, we'll get into region play, and we will be back at home, and it'll be a team that Central, brand new team Central has never played before, and a team I've never seen play a football game in all my years, the Anniston Bulldogs.
You don't know what you've
Coach,
missed.
I've never witnessed an Anniston game in person.
And keep in mind, Anniston, a 14-1 team that went to the finals last year.
Quiet.
When you coach,
they did it quietly last year.
And it's kind of starting quiet this year because they're a new coach, a lot of unknowns.
Right.
But they always have a lot of talent all over the field.
Got a D1 OL, I think.
And
D1 offensive lineman.
They are on the road tomorrow night, and they're traveling up. They're traveling up toward 5 to Geraldine.
Yep.
That's where they'll be playing.
I've done a Geraldine game a couple years ago.
That's an unusual matchup.
That is
very unusual.
It sure is. And then week 4, we'll be back on the road. We'll head toward Birmingham, and we'll get off there to Leeds exit and be headed to Leeds High School, a region game number 2 for the Volunteers, taking on Leeds. And from everything that I can find, Taylor, the Leeds Green Waves open tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's their off night, and so they'll be sitting on ready for next week as they get ready to take on their opponent next week after an open game tomorrow night. Game 5 for the Central Vols, first half of the season, and it's going to be the Jacksonville Golden Eagles. That game's going to be out here at Volunteer Stadium. They're traveling tomorrow night over to Piedmont to take on the Piedmont Bulldogs.
We'll find out a lot about Jacksonville tomorrow night.
We will. We'll find out some things
so
about
supposedly
Jacksonville
got a few new players. I don't know.
That's the word on Jacksonville, that they've got a few folks that weren't there last year, and a pretty good quarterback, we understand, possibly there now, a couple of linemen. So we'll start to learn about Jacksonville. Another one of those teams will be first time for Central has faced Jacksonville later on this year. That 6th week, that's where the Volunteers Open Week takes place. And then we'll jump back into region play. We'll be traveling to Alexandria. The Valley Cubs, a couple of games against them in the past as they have been region opponents. And they've been separated out, but back in the same region together. And according to everything we can find, Alexandria open tomorrow night as they'll be taking their open date next week and then playing 10 straight weeks. The following week, we'll be back home. We'll be taking on the Lincoln Golden Bears. Now, it's been a while here. The first 2 years of Central, when we were 4A, we were in that region with Lincoln. And it's been about 13 years since we faced the Golden Bears. Tomorrow night, they're opening up tonight in Talladega, taking on the Talladega Tigers tonight. Lincoln at Talladega tonight over in Talladega.
Somehow, I was obviously there, but I do not remember playing it. I know we did, but I just can't remember it. I can't get the games
Playing
up.
them at Lincoln? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Keith Howard, one of the first places we played on artificial turf. Yep. But it happened. It's been a while. It's been a few years ago. We'll get into our game 8 for the year. Well, they've been with us for 13 years now. The first 2 years we weren't together, but after that we've been matched up and been in region play, the Sylacauga Aggies. Sylacauga taking on those Aggies in that game 8 this year. And tomorrow night, they're at home. They're at Legion Stadium in Sylacauga. They're taking on the Hopeville Bulldogs tomorrow night. The Moody Blue Devils, there they are, guys, a defending state champion. As we'll play week 9. Our week 9 game, our 9th game. We'll be taking on the Moody Blue Devils. We'll be traveling up to Moody tomorrow night. They are at home, and they are playing Briarwood, those Lions of Briarwood, and Moody getting together tomorrow night. And then game 10, we'll step out of region play, a team we played again back years ago as a region opponent, been off the schedule a while. They've rolled back on St. Clair County, the St. Clair County Saints, and we'll travel to, I believe it's Odenville, to take on St. Clair County. They are on the road tonight at Gardendale, taking on the Rockets of Gardendale as they kick off their season tonight.
Interesting schedule there, a tough schedule. We're talking about you got a defending 5A state champion there in Moody and a 4A finalist that you got, but also some teams that, as you said, we've played. Alexandria a couple years ago, but they were kind of younger team when we played them. I think a much improved team, but some interesting trips, but. The mileage, I think, is probably maybe the best it's ever been, probably, I would say, as far as the distance of travel.
There's not a bad road trip on there. And I'll tell you something interesting, Taylor. Of the 8 teams in our region this year, those 7 plus Clay Central, out of the 8 teams, you've got 6 teams there that have, somewhere in their past, have won a playoff state championship.
That's it. That is interesting.
Yeah, out of the 8 teams.
That's a big deal.
That have claimed, and the playoffs started, what, Coach Williams, 68? About 68 is when the
Yeah,
football started?
69.
Yeah, so since then, 6 of those 8 have claimed a playoff state championship.
That's impressive.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to take our final break here on Football Fiesta. We're going to come back. Coach Weems is going to lead us through the 4A. Now we're in 4A, the 4A top 10, and then some other big games around the state. You won't want to miss that. As we got one more segment left here, live from Monte Alban Bar and Grill on Classic Country 90.9.
This is District Attorney Joe Fickwit with an important public safety reminder. As District Attorney, I've seen the aftermath of vehicle crashes caused by texting while driving. Many began with a simple distraction, a driver looking at a phone instead of the road, and ended with injury and death. Alabama's hands-free law was created to help save lives. In 2024 alone, distracted driving was linked to 65 deaths across the state. When you are behind the wheel, nothing on your phone is more important than arriving safely. Put the phone down. Stay focused. Protect yourself and those sharing the road with you. Don't text and drive.
Farr & Associates Injury Attorneys focus on personal injury law, including cases involving vehicle accidents, 18-wheeler crashes, boating injuries, workplace incidents, premises liability, medical malpractice, and wrongful death. Information is available at tpharrlaw.com or by phone at 256-487-6080. Farr & Associates Injury Attorneys are sponsors of the Clay Central Sports Network on Classic Country 90.9. No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those performed by other lawyers.
Chris here with Last Call Services in Delta, Alabama. Our team handles a range of residential, commercial plumbing needs, and residential remodeling, including leaking pipes, clogged drains, water or sewer line services, painting, sheetrock, flooring, and other remodeling services. We spend a lot of time working across East Central Alabama, helping maintain plumbing systems in homes and businesses of all kinds. We are available around the clock. Last Call does it all, and we are available by phone at 256-343-4119 and online at lastcallservices.net.
Remember when you would dream about what you would grow up to be? Imagining your dolls were students or your Legos a skyscraper. Maybe it's time to turn that dream into a reality. At Southern Union State Community College, you can discover your dream career in healthcare, business, manufacturing, engineering, and more. From imaginary to extraordinary at Southern Union State Community College. Visit suscc.edu today.
We welcome you back here. Football Fiesta. It's Rusty Taylor, Coach Jerry Weems, Coach Chris Herron, also Heath Stroud and Jeremy Character in here with us. Head Coach Danny Horn with us a little bit. We also had Principal Coach Wes Campbell, Principal Athletic Director, with us early on to start the show. Another good show, and that's going to continue to go as we get in this last segment. Coach Weems, we don't look too heavily at preseason rankings, but it's worth looking at here for media purposes in the matchup. Share something with us.
Well, you know, and first of all, Rusty, we need to make I'm sure most people are aware of this, but we're in 4A. We didn't actually drop a class. There was a class eliminated. So 4A basically is what 5A was last year. Maybe a few new teams at the top and a few new ones at the bottom. But it's basically what
which replaces kind of the private schools, which are in their own division now.
Right. Well, looking at the preseason top 10, and of course it means absolutely nothing, but it does give you a good idea of who to look for as we go into the season. In our class 4A, number 1 is Williamson. Very familiar face. Number 2, Viger, which we played last year. Central of Clay checks in at number 3. Number 4 is West Morgan, and that is a new team that came into this class from last year. Number 5 is Alexandria, which gives you an idea of the respect they're receiving throughout the state. Number 6, Scottsboro. They open up with a big rival tomorrow night, Fort Payne, and you remember we had a scheduling conflict that cost us a matchup with those teams.
Didn't Jacksonville play Scottsboro in a jamboree game last week?
And Jacksonville
handled them pretty good.
Pretty handily. Number 7 is another one of our region teams, the Moody Blue Devils, the defending state champion. Number 8 is Hamilton, High School from way up in northwest Alabama. Number 9, another region opponent of Clay Central, Leeds. And then number 10, a team that's been a perennial in the 5A top 10 the last few years, Northside. And then some other votes, other teams that receive votes.
Everybody left in our region.
Yeah, you've got Anniston, Jacksonville, Andalusia, Priceville, Eufaula, Selma, Woodlawn, Good Hope, Guntersville, Cherokee County, and our good friends at Fairview that we've followed somewhat the last few years.
You got a little purple in your closet somewhere, I'll tell you that.
So there's a lot of schools there that to keep an eye on. But looking around at the other classes, in 6A, the biggest class in Alabama, the number 1 team there, of course, is Thompson. Who else? And then
they're playing tonight against Central Phoenix City.
APT, that's the Alabama Public Television game.
And then Auburn and Opelika are the next 2 closest teams to us that are ranked in that 6A. And then in 5A, the class right above us, Clay Chalkwell is ranked number 1. And then you've got Ben Russell ranked number 4. And then Oxford is in that division as well. In Class 3A, number 1 is Plainview. And some local teams, Handley and Cleveland County, both ranked in that 3A poll. And then, of course, in 2A, the number 1.
Cleveland County ranked in the poll?
They are. Oh, well, I think they received votes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was short.
2A, number 1 is Piedmont. And, of course, they open up with Jacksonville tomorrow night. Number 2 is the team that's
we should
coming
get a
right
vote,
here.
Aaron.
Yeah. 5.
Look, it's writers, though. See, it's sports writers.
Well, I write an article every week.
You do right. You do right.
They're taken last year for the most part.
Well, they do.
I know. But
yeah. And then 5, number 2 in 2A. And then
I'm with you, Taylor.
Reeltown is ranked number 4. Lynette, number 7.
Maybe a joint ballot.
In 1A, the number 1 ranked team is Maplesville. And Wadley is ranked number 2. And then Willowboro and Spring Garden both got votes as well. And by the way, Wadley opened it up tonight right down the road against Horseshoe Bend.
3-point stance, top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a look at all the polls and how they look right now. And don't be surprised if some of that changes by this time next week.
Yeah, some of it you'll start to see the change tonight. Because really, Coach, you in high school especially, you only have to go off last year. And I don't know how much they take into consideration a team that had a bunch of seniors or all that information, and some people's schedule has got the scheduling with the new realignment, so to speak, has really changed up a lot of schedules.
And you got to remember this as well. When these writers meet, a sports writer in an area can influence some votes from another area, and that kind of manipulates who gets where as well.
Well, I mean, if you're covering, let's just be honest, if you're covering a team as a sports writer, you want that team to be acknowledged as the top team in the state. So if there's only a couple in your area, it's going to be hard for you not to give them votes.
That's
so it can be a little swayed, just to be honest.
But it'll sort its way out as we go along.
It should. It should sort its way out. Coach Harrod, what stood out to you in that group, especially that top 10 in 4A? A few new names that we're not used to playing because of the change with the now there's a private school. Private school got two
classes. They got big private, little private.
So, but with those teams leaving and things kind of combining there, a few teams bumping up there from 4A, but a lot of previous 5As, especially at the top with Williamson, Viger, and Central Clay. All of us right at the finishing towards the top.
This will be interesting for Clay Central this year, and it carries us back to our championship years of 18 and 19. As in the last several years, we've always kept our eyes on the southern half of the state. The Williamsons, the Vigers, those teams like that. This year, not so much, because the region we find ourselves in now, in Region 6, come playoff time, we're going back north. So we're
we hadn't been since then.
And we hadn't been since 19. So a lot of our attention, as we check scores this year, will be kind of more focused to the north and the south, looking at possible playoff matchups.
Yeah, we mentioned the Williamsons and Vigers. We're not going back to Mobile unless we go to the finals.
Exactly.
That's where it's at.
That's right. It is in Mobile.
So, but we've made a lot of trips down there while we've been in the South. So that is interesting.
I'll tell you an interesting team that came up from in the 4A this year, and moved up a class really, is Cherokee County, and they've been to a couple of championship games in the recent past, and has had good teams up there. So they may be a team to keep an eye on.
Yeah, they kind of fell off a little bit last year, but I don't know how much they've rebuilt and headed in that direction. Earlier we played our Radio Alabama Roundup. That was good that Mitch Petrie had shared that with us and put that. So we talked about all of our family of teams, some of those families. We heard Wetumpka making the trip down to Andalusia. That's a pretty interesting matchup there within the but there's one tonight that's a big one, right? That is a big one. Childersburg and BB Comer kind of a reuniting in an early Thursday night game.
They're doing, and we were able to talk this morning earlier with David McCurley, the voice of those from the Tiger Sports Network with Childersburg, and that game tonight being played at the old I think, is it John Cox? Yeah. The old John Cox Stadium in Childersburg,
which we played at.
Which we played at in the past, and now they've got a new school, a new stadium, but that
Winterboro's playing that as their home.
That's right. That will be Winterboro's home stadium. So because of that, a little work done there, they've carried that game tonight back to that old stadium, kind of a throwback game that goes way back as many years ago. That was always an opening game for both those teams, and those communities, looking forward to that tonight. And Childersburg winless last year, but looking to get back on the winning side of things, and hopefully got that, looking to turn that program back around, to winning some ball games this year. But interesting game, good game over there, getting things started tonight in Talladega County between Childersburg and BB Comer.
Another one of our Radio Alabama family, Sylacauga, making, I don't know, they playing at home, but they're playing Hopeful. That's a very common playoff team that we've faced, but they're facing, is tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's tomorrow night at Sylacauga.
At Sylacauga, so they'll be there at Legion Stadium. That'll be one to keep up with, because Hopeful, a pretty common playoff team, one we faced in the playoff a couple of times. Y'all got anything as we get ready to close things out here? Just going to remind people of a few ways they can listen and watch, but I wanted to give you guys a chance to close things out.
Well, next week, Rusty, when we get back here for the football fiesta, we'll have a lot more to talk about because we'll be reviewing a game, and we'll have a player of the week, and we'll also have a coach with us with that player of the week. So a lot of things to do next week.
Let's guess what position group the player of the week will come from.
I'm going to predict linebacker.
Okay.
I'm going in the backfield. I'm going with a back, a running back.
All right. I'll say a lineman of some sort from either side with his hand.
Hand down.
Which one do you think would if it's one of those? Which one do you feel better about how the game went? You see what I'm saying? If we pick a lineman,
right.
Would you feel better about that than if we end up picking a back, or does it really? You see what I'm saying?
I do.
I think the back would have to have some impressive numbers.
A linebacker could.
A lot of.
It's probably a good sign.
Maybe a turnover for
a defensive lineman would be.
It'd be a really good sign. Yeah. A really good sign, probably.
Right.
So a dominant for Coach Herron. What do you got as we get ready to close things out?
Just tomorrow night, this thing gets kicked off. We talk about it. We wait on it for 9 months, and we break it down and talk about it and talk it to death sometimes. And it's exciting time. You kind of feel it in the air. There's nothing like high school football. Nothing like high school football in Clay County, and we get a chance to. We're only guaranteed 10 Friday nights of it each year, and our first one comes tomorrow night. So encourage everyone that can be there and take it in and witness. The work that's been put in by a lot of young folks in Clay County getting out and ready to do their thing tomorrow night.
I want to share just a couple opportunities. You can always find us on the Radio Alabama app. It's available in your app store there or Google Play. You can always find that. Another online streaming opportunity, always classiccountry90.9.org. Don't forget, the weekday morning, 6 to 8, Coaching Friends. You can hear Coach Herron and one of his friends, or maybe more, who knows. And also the 3-point stance for 8 to 10 got a little special guest. I know Pete Story will be
That's
in there.
right. Yeah, tell them about that in the morning.
Pete Story's going to be in.
Right
There's going to be a presentation tomorrow, kind of right after warm-ups, that Serve Pro and Pete Story and some of the others are going to be doing, and they're going to be giving Coach Paul Benefield, and they're going to be honoring Coach Paul Benefield and Coach Danny Horn. I think much deserved there, and it'll be a neat thing there somewhere around 6:30. They'll be doing that tomorrow, but you can hear a little bit more about that in the morning at 8 o'clock.
That's right.
On the 3-point stance. Always catch that. It's also live on the Facebook page. You can catch us there on the Classic Country 90.9 Facebook page. Something new that a lot of people may not know about is the ClayCentralVols.com. That is ClayCentralVols.com, and that is our sports. We've got our own website there for our sports. You can go back. You can re-listen to games there. You can should be able to re-watch games. You can watch live there, and a lot of different information. Those scores, the previous scores of the previous games is there. The upcoming schedules is there. Just a neat opportunity. That is ClayCentralVols.com. You can find all about the Southern Union State Community College Clay Central Sports Network right there, and we're excited. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Will be the air time there for the RA Digital pregame show. Will come on at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and then we'll get things cranked off at 7 for the Cook Foods of Ashland kickoff, and we'll roll right through that thing tomorrow. We're excited about the opportunity to get things going tomorrow night. Some special things. You'll want to join at 6, even if you're traveling over. We hope you're coming, but while you're coming, if you're coming about that time, maybe you'll join us on Classic Country 90.9, or however you listen to us right there. Been a great show. It was good to have Coach Wes Campbell with us, also Coach Danny Horn, Coach Chris Herron, Coach Jerry Weems, Jeremy Character, Heath Stroud. Till next time, which should be tomorrow at 6 o'clock, unless you're on the morning show for some of these guys, on Classic Country 90.9, Football Fiesta has been live from Monte Alban Bar and Grill on the Ashland Square. Go Vols.
You've been listening to Football Fiesta, part of the Southern Union State Community College Clay Central Sports Network, a product of Radio Alabama Sports and the Radio Alabama Foundation. Sponsored by Monte Alban Bar and Grill, Meek Dozier Services, Farr and Associates Injury Attorneys, and Last Call Services. This broadcast is copyrighted by Radio Alabama for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast without Radio Alabama's consent is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.
This has been a presentation of Radio Alabama Sports. This broadcast is copyrighted by Radio Alabama for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast, descriptions, or accounts of the game without Radio Alabama's consent is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.